to our 3-on-3 questions. At this time, folks, feel free to join the conversation on Facebook Live. Leave us your questions, leave us your comments. Let us know what you're thinking. Okay, let's get into it. The Blazers have been mentioned by the Chicago Tribune Bulls beat writer Casey Johnson and Chicago Sun-Times Bulls beat writer Joe Cowley, no relation to Jared that we know of, as one of the teams interested in Bulls power forward Nikola Mirotic. The Jazz, Pistons, Knicks are also interested. The Bulls want a first-round pick in any trade for Mirotic. Do you think the Blazers should pursue Mirotic, whose contract allows him to be traded starting on January 15th, and at what price is probably part of the question here. Should the Blazers trade a first-round pick for a player like Mirotic? Who wants to go first?
I'll start with that last question. Should they trade a first-round pick for a player like Mirotic? To me, the answer is absolutely yes, because the Blazers' first-round pick, again, this year is probably going to be in the mid to late teens at best, and it may even be in the early 20s depending on what they do the rest of the season. So that value of that pick is not as good, as a top 10, top 5 pick. And you're most likely not going to find a player as good as Nikola Mirotic in that spot, much less a guy who's ready to play right now. And Blazers fans want something right now. They're tired of hearing, we're going to keep developing players and build through the draft. They're tired of that. They want a guy who could come in and fill a roster need now, and Mirotic fits that. Yeah. He fits perfectly with the Blazers at the 4. He can move Al-Farouq Aminu down to the 3. This year, Mirotic has shown he can hit some outside shots, which is something the Blazers need as well. And he's an offensive weapon for them on a team that, outside of their guards, has lacked offensive weapons. So to me, if the only thing is the Blazers have to give up a first-round pick, if that's what makes the deal, if no one else is willing to do that and Portland is, then yeah, you make that deal.
I have a feeling that he's going to have more interest than just Portland. And this could turn into a bidding war. Yeah. And to your point, if it comes down to a first-round draft pick, maybe that's a good option in terms of what can you do for me right now. Yeah. I'm just not sold on Nikola Mirotic. He doesn't do it for me. Offensively, there's no doubt he creates versatility. He spreads the floor. The dude can score, and he is on a tear right now. Yeah. I mean, he's playing the best basketball of his career. His numbers are all the way up. But it just, I don't think that he's going to sustain this consistency. I don't think that we're looking at the guy that the Blazers would get. Right now, he's on a roll, and if they do get something like this, I'm all about it. I think I had mentioned that, I'm not sold. I think that his offense not only is inconsistent, but I think that defensively, too, mirrors that inconsistency as well. And, Jared, I know you wanted to feast off of that, that I was not a fan of his defensive ability and his game overall.
I think your criticisms are fair, especially about his offense. He's been really inconsistent throughout his career. His second season in the league 2 years ago, he shot 39% from the floor. He was really looked at as this up-and-coming great stretch power forward, a power forward for the modern NBA. And then last season, he slumped pretty bad. And this year, he's playing the best of his career. So he has been inconsistent, especially with his scoring. But one area he hasn't been inconsistent during his career is defense. He's got the thing with the Blazers, they play this small lineup all the time because you're putting Aminu at the 4, and he's undersized for power forward. And Mirotic has, I was thinking about it, if you were going to create a perfect power forward for Terry Stott's system, Mirotic pretty much checks all of the boxes. He's got good size. He's about 6'10", 240. He shoots the outside shot really well. Even if he's not as good as he is this year, shooting 47%, he's still a 36% three-point shooter for his career. And on defense, he's had a positive plus-minus, real plus-minus on defense every season of his career. And for his career, the Bulls are about 3 points better per 100 possessions on defense when he's on the court. And it's even better this year. So he's been a good defender his entire career. I don't think he's an elite defender because I don't think he has the athleticism to be an elite defender, but I think he's a very solid defensive player. And so getting back to the first-round pick, I think, yes. I think that if you could take the trade exception and add a first-round pick with some protection to it, maybe lottery protection, and that was enough for the Bulls, it's a no-brainer.
Oh, yeah.
But only, like you were talking about, it needs to be the 2018 first-round pick. I don't think you want to give away a 2019 or 2020 because you don't know what's going to happen. But this year, you kind of have an idea of where that pick's going to be, and I think the value of a player like Mirotic is higher than what you would get with that first-round pick. But if it becomes more than that, if it becomes a bidding war, like you said, you can't attach protections to the pick, or they just want expiring contracts and a pick. Like, say you had to send Ed Davis and Noah Vonleh, or Ed Davis and Shabazz Napier, and add a first-round pick. I don't know. That's a tougher call.
And that would be a call that Olshey would have to make in determining, well, where are we at this season? If we lose, like you said, 'cause that's probably what it will likely come down to, a first-round pick and a player like Shabazz Napier, and maybe even in addition a player like Ed Davis. But maybe they would take Noah Vonleh, a younger version of Ed Davis. And so, to me, that is still worth it. Because with Shabazz, someone's going to pay Shabazz around $12 million next year. And it's probably not going to be the Blazers, because they already are spending a lot of money at the guard position, just a lot of money in general. So Nikola Mirotic makes about $12 million. So I'd rather have that money spent on a power forward who he's not signed long-term, but he has a team option in that if traded to the Blazers, I'm sure they'd pick up next summer. So you'd get him for the rest of the season and another full season after that. And then you can determine if this is a guy you want to keep around long-term or not.
So you're good if they gave up Shabazz Napier and a first-round draft pick for Nikola Mirotic.
I would be okay with that.
I think you have to decide, are they going to keep those guys after the season? If you're Neil Olshey and you see it as we're probably going to let those guys go in the offseason anyway, then absolutely get something for them. And Mirotic, his contract is good. It's about, like you said, $12.5 million for this year and next with the team option. But also, he's the right age. Neil Olshey always talks about how he wants to add a player that's right around that core of the Blazers roster with age, and he turns 27 in February.
He's right in that Dame CJ age area, because Dame's 27 and CJ's 26.
He's a great fit.
Just don't let him get caught in that pick and roll. He's going to get put through the blender, man. He's got happy feet, dude. All right.